Hello, happy Friday. Hi. Yeah, let's go out for Friday. Totally. It's the end of the week. Hello, familiar faces. Hello, new friends. To the new friends, if you don't know who I am, my name is Kristen. I am the programming and press manager here for the church. It's really wonderful to have you here, so thank you for being here. And forgive me, because I just ran up and down the stairs like twice, so I need to catch my breath. Okay, cool. I'd like to begin the program. Thanks, Billy.
Take a breath.
Yeah, breathe. Breathing is good. I would like to begin our program how we begin each program, which is inviting all of you to join us in a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that we are gathered together today on the unceded land of the Montaukett, Manhasset, and Shinnecock nations, whose people are a vibrant and integral part of our community, who are here. We are so grateful to be in community with them and to have their wisdom. So may the continued respect that we have for the ancestral spirit of this land, its people, and each other be what lead us forward. I have the joy of introducing Billy, which is really fun because I don't think I need to introduce him to any of you. But I will say on the programming side of things, one of the things that I really love that I get to work on each month is the core programming series. And that speaks to our community here. So every program, Knowledge Friday, Insight Sunday, Wellness Monday, is built by people who are part of this community. And it speaks to the skills and the diverse voices that we have here. And one of my favorite things is when we have a speaker who's really passionate about whatever it is that they're really passionate about. Because it inspires that energy, that enthusiasm, that excitement. And so I know that I don't need to tell you who Billy Baldwin is. You already know that. And I think you can agree with me. He gets really excited about whatever he's passionate about, yeah? And it makes you excited about life. It makes you happy to be here. It makes you excited. So, thank you very much for being here, sir. And without further ado, Mr. Billy Baldwin.
Ready for action?
Ready for action.
So when they asked me to speak, I'm a little bit of a coward. The first thing I did was call Steve Hamilton, because I've seen him do many presentations, and he's so smooth, and also Emma is so smooth when she talks about her books. And I was asking, please give me lessons on how to talk and get confidence, because I zip through things really quickly, and I'm getting a little better. But get up here, he's going to ask me questions. So jump up. No, oh, you want to watch the video? Watch the video. So guys, you know me, I come up with a lot of ideas, and some of them are a little bit silly. So a little while ago, I came up with an idea for today, a video, an animation video. I hired an animator at a scat, and I thought it was going to be really good. I was really excited. I got the animation, and it was terrible. Luckily, I have a friend of mine who's a playwright and also a great software tech guy. He said, Billy, not a problem. I said, Kip, we have 1 week. There's no way. He said, I got it. And I apologize if you don't like AI, the only way to get it done in a week was AI. And so it's a little bit rough. Some of our characters were walking like this, but their feet were that way. And some of our characters start this tall and they shrink down to this, but it's pretty funny. So you want to roll with the video? And let's give it a shot.
Here we go, starting.
Is this working? There we go. So, two things. When I walk in the door of this building, I pretend this is a ship in my mind every time I've come here. And my imagination can take me anywhere I want to go, any adventure. And you two put this together, so the energy in this place, and that's what I came up with the idea. When I walk in here, the church is a rocket ship, and it'll take me anywhere my mind wants to go. So thank you for doing this. And also, it wouldn't happen without my friends spending many, many, many hours till 2 or 3 in the morning. Kip, where are you? Kip, thank you so much for doing this. Now, Steve, get up here. It takes a village, right? Kip's amazing.
Earth to Billy. So if you're wondering who is Billy Baldwin, just take a look at this. All of these characters, they're all right up here. Right, Billy? So Billy and I have been working together I'm Steve Hamilton, by the way, and Billy and I have been working together on a presentation for a couple months now. So I've gotten a chance to know Billy and his process just a little bit. But, you know, I think it might be interesting to talk about, I mean, some of you folks probably know Billy mostly from his long marathon walks around the village or from paddling about in his marathon kayak trips around Shelter Island, or perhaps you know him from his bicycle cookie mobile when he's handing out free cookies to strangers on Main Street, which admittedly is a little bit creepy, but that's Billy, you know? And they're delicious cookies, so I took a chance once. But I'm sure that a lot of people don't know how prolific a writer you are for children. In the past 10 years, Billy has written 12 books illustrated for kids. Many of them have gotten awards, independent awards, the Benjamin Franklin Award, the Moonbeam Award. They've also gotten multi-stars from Amazon, where you can find his books, and starred reviews from Kirkus, which is the kids' periodical for newly published books. So the process, though, that you go is a bit unorthodox. And I think it's born of from your early life, from your childhood, and from particular disabilities that you've had to overcome, both in your school life and your home life, and now as an author. And I wanted to know if you could talk a little bit about that, specifically about how your learning disability, specifically your severe dyslexia, figures into your process as a children's book writer.
As a kid growing up with dyslexia, for me, dyslexia was reading and writing made no sense. I don't understand grammar, I don't understand spelling, and the last two things on earth I ever want to do is read and write. To this day, I don't want to read and write. Reading is one of the greatest things in the world, one of the greatest gifts we have, but it's so difficult for me, there is no pleasure in it for me. So when I grew up, I'd walk in the school doors, and it was a battlefield. So what happens, the worst thing for a kid is your self-esteem and your confidence get destroyed. So therefore, literally, I had convinced myself I was stupid, and that's kind of what they thought back then. I had hair all the way down to here. Either you're on drugs, you're stupid, or you're lazy. Those are the three things that were. And then finally, a teacher saw one of my tests, and he went to my dad and said, "Your son's dyslexic. You know, let's get him tested and see what we can do." And I was really very lucky. I met a woman, Dr. Gertrude Webb. And my father brought me up to be not analyzed, reviewed with her. And said, "Can you help my son with his learning disabilities?" And she looked at my dad really funny and said, "I can't. I can help him with his learning abilities." Now, that might sound normal today, but in the 1970s, it was groundbreaking. She knew that if you focused on a student's strengths, built his confidence, lower his frustration, then all of a sudden the world starts to slow down and you can actually see things to learn. The other thing that amplified it too, which Steve and I had talked about, I went from the anxiety of being in school back to the anxiety of being in my home, which was a terrible kind of dysfunctional alcoholic home. So it kind of added fuel to the fire. So I didn't have a safe place to go. Do you ever wonder why so many of my stories have storms or islands? Because I think I've always been in a storm all my life, and I wish I could hide out in an island somewhere. So that's been, in my early days, I was lost, and I didn't know. I know some people that are really lucky when they come from dysfunctional homes and violent homes and things, somehow they get a passion early on, and they can grab that passion and fuel everything into it. I wasn't lucky. I didn't have a passion yet. I was clouded, you know.
The underdog plays is such an important character in a lot of your books. An underdog overcoming adversity. Is that pretty much how you would characterize your life growing up? You were the underdog. You are the underdog in your books.
I had a therapist once, and I said to this therapist, I go, I think they dropped me on the wrong planet, you know? Because I felt that different. I felt that strange. You know, that's why the last leaf is a little misshapen, curled leaf. You know, Wipe Out the Wave is a rogue wave that can't find himself. All my characters are either orphans, misfits, that just are a little bit freaks, but they all do the same thing. They all prevail, grow, learn, face their challenges, and become heroes. You know, so I've never given up. Dr. Webb, my dyslexia teacher, always told me that there's always hope. I know it's a cliche thing, but she instilled in me so strongly there's always hope, there's always a light. So no matter what happens, I don't really care what it is. I mean, I was losing my little brother, which I eventually lost him, and there was always hope. There was always movement forward. And so all my characters never give up. In fact, in this book, I wrote for my little brother called The Boy, the Mermaid, and the Storm. So he's challenged by a storm. Ted's was a sickness. His girlfriend was the mermaid, and he loved to sail. At the end of this book, the storm has defeated him. He is going to die. But the boy, with his last breath, swims out to grab the storm. The storm is so outraged that he didn't have his spirit. He didn't have his heart. He threw the boy out of the ocean, and the boy lived. Because you don't always beat a storm. But spiritually, you never lose. You know, and it's, this is one of the greatest gifts. I've had multiple people come up to me. One woman in particular at an event came up to me, hugged me, and started crying because she had bought the book, walked away, came back, and said thank you. You know, unfortunately, someone in her family was probably not doing very well. So.
But Billy, what was it? What was the moment when the notion, the idea, came to you about creating these characters? Because I know in the past you were a businessman, and what was it about? What brought you to show this book?
I was saved by a cookie. Is that hard to believe, right? Literally, a cookie saved me. So, as always, I'm always trying to help people. So, my little brother was looking for a job. And I said, dude, we got to start a cookie company. Mrs. Fields is no more. So we started a cookie company. He lasted 3 weeks, but I got into it. And so I came up with all these strange names, and then I came up with this name, Cookie Island, which is this book. And before you know it, I had 40-foot macadamians. And I forgot to tell you, in the slides, there's three different slides you're going to see. This is old Cookie Island art, which is it's very timely we're talking about it. That's the sugar moles. That's one of our characters. And then there's art that Lisa and I have drawn, which you see in these books. And you'll see some black and white sketches that look kind of primitive. Those are my drawings that I give to my artists to redraw. And now I totally forgot where we were Cookie Island.
Yeah.
So when you sell a cookie company, you got to have a name, right? So all of a sudden the name had characters and storylines. And that was our marketing tool to sell the cookies. I started falling in love with creating stories. and drawing characters. And I never thought I was very good at art direction, but evidently I seem to be pretty good at art direction.
Do you remember the moment when the cookie company fell away and you realized that you were still creating these characters and stories about these characters?
What happened is we were becoming very successful. We opened a retail store on the corner of Day and Broadway, and the gas was going on 9/11, 1 block from the World Trade Center. So, so that was the turning point to move me over to saying, listen, I might as well just write stories. That's what I really love anyway.
What was your first book that you published?
Was The Last Leaf. Actually, it's not true. Before the cookie company, it was Father's Day, and I needed a gift from my dad, and he had everything, right? So he loved golf. So I wrote him a book called 18 Holes with My Dad. I got some little illustrator, my friend tried to make it rhymey, and I printed it, and it was funny. I sent it to Random House, and I sent it to St. Martin's Press. It is a terrible book, right? But both guys said, Billy, that's the coolest idea. We've never seen anything like that. But they wanted something bigger, like a Tuesday with Morrie. This was like a little thin book. And the guy at St. Martin's Press said, I had a tear going down my eye in the 18th hole. You know, but the book is preachy, and it's just, I never wrote a book. I didn't know anything about it. But I learned something. Inside, I could affect people. My dad took the book. He left the room crying. You know, and my dad's a pretty hardcore, like, crunching kind of business guy. Doesn't really do that often. I knew I could affect people. And with Cookie Island, the same thing happened. We would go to different events and things, and all of a sudden, we'd get pulled into a meeting with United Media or a producer or other people. People were tugging at us. So I knew something in my brain was working, you know, that worked with entertainment, that worked with entertaining people. Mm-hmm. But I had a problem. I had no skills. I can't read, I can't write very well. I can read and write, but I can't do it very well. I have no training in writing books. So here I am. I've been saved by a cookie company, and I got to try to start writing books and stories. What do I do? You know, one of the things I did is I went to Emma's class in Southampton and started learning how to write books. You know, which was a huge hit.
So, with this sort of obstacle, in you, what did it feel like to sit down with a piece of paper? A lot of authors talk about sitting down and facing the blank page or the blank, you know.
I would make $1 billion if I videotape myself writing stuff. It's the funniest thing in the world. I sit at my desk, I write something. Anything can distract me. If an ant crawls across the floor, I get distracted because I really don't like the art of writing. The reason why Itch and the Critter Patrol, our newest book, is only 5,000 words, because we just did 30,000, 60,000, and 30,000 words, and there was no way I was going to read another big book again. So it's a battle that I have every day with this creation.
Tell me about the process of the illustrations too, because I know you have an illustrator that you love to work with.
By the way, this is our new book, Itch and the Critter Patrol. This is an island, a vacation island where critters go from all over the world. And this is the rescue team, because of course, if you've got everyone running to some island to play golf and to see they're rappelling down a mountainside, you've got a Critter Patrol to take care of them. And of course, there's a junior patrol that's trying to be like the Critter Patrol. And then, of course, there's an evil person that's trying to sell the island to the humans. So it's a really, really fun book. Sorry, Steve, my mind gets distracted sometimes.
Yeah.
There's Itch. He's the only human on the island. And that's Boogie. I can't even remember the names anymore because I'm on to 2 other books right now. And that's the Roadkill Gang in the window. They're trying to get them. All right, sorry, go ahead.
So you're getting, I guess, a little bit of a picture of what goes on in Billy's mind, but which is really fascinating. How do you sit down and actually put this down? How do you communicate this stuff? How do you communicate these images, these ideas for these characters, for instance? How do you communicate those to your illustrator, who, by the way, her name is...
Lisa Bell in South Africa. And
that's right.
Merry Christmas. There we go. Lisa Bell in South Africa. I had pretty much given up. I couldn't find it. Oh, there's the Roadkill Gang. I couldn't find an illustrator, so I pretty much just gave up. And then all of a sudden, I went to Upworks, and I saw this woman that only had a few characters, and I liked her lines. They had a little bit of a dance to them. So we've worked together now for 12 years. 12 books. We have 3 more in the hopper right now, and that's also 10 gift books. So whenever we do a book, in between the book, I do a gift book.
So talk a little bit about gift books, because that's something that I had never known about.
So in the old days, I would do a photo album for someone, and they would find it nice and everything. But when I gave that book for my dad, he left the room crying. So I've done books for all my family members, some of my good friends. And I did one for Ted at the American Hotel, because he's done so much for everybody. And then I just did one for John Graham. He was at Hampton Racket. He was like Santa Claus with kids playing tennis. He passed away. So all this money goes to Memorial Sloan, and I did this one for free. So
you call them gift books because you write them for these people who are important in your lives?
I do them. I don't make money off them. I
Yeah.
just do them for fun.
I see.
And one of the gift books was The Boy, the Mermaid, and the Storm, and that's how that I turned into regular books, because they were so well liked. You know.
So how do you get your ideas for characters? Let's try this one more time, shall we? How we get those ideas for characters to your illustrator?
It's not my fault. It's terrifying between these ears. So what was the characters, right? So I was talking at the Bridgehampton School last year, and all the kids were asking me, where do my ideas come from? I say, first of all, no cell phones, no iPads. Quiet your mind. You know, when your mind gets slow and it gets relaxed, ideas come in. When I grab an idea, I frantically write down anything I can to get whatever I can. And then I take my emotions and I put them aside. Because what I think is great, you might not understand. So now I've got to do story structure. So I get a big piece of paper and I write all these lines for each character, all the subplots, and I go over and over and over it until I think the story is going to work for other people. Then I start illustrating. Isn't that a cool picture? So that's fate, trying to get up the wave. The little boy can't get up the wave. It's impossible. But he believes so much that he does get up.
This sort of manifesto that you were talking about your ideas when you put them down on paper and make the links between different characters. I've seen one of those. It's like a storyboard or a vision board, or like when you see those murder procedurals and they have all the pictures of all the suspects on. That's exactly what it looks like, with little drawings and little notes.
Yeah, and then I start sketching everything. So I sketch out all the illustrations that you see in my books. They're primitive and kind of scary, but they're all sketched out. And vehicles. I love vehicles. And I love to honor people. So my idols, Dr. Seuss, Monty Python, the long-necked moose. That's a good one. Sorry, I get so distracted, guys. So I try to honor people sometimes. Like some of my machines, sometimes I'll put a couple little lines that would be like Dr. Seuss's, which are kind of fun for me. So I'll illustrate everything. I'll scan them, give them to my artist, and even sometimes we will act out scenes. And then she'll do her first round of drawings. And as well, if I go over 1,500 words, I can't dance words like really good writers can. I use 2 editors per book. I will hire a writer to rewrite my words. And then we'll go back over the manuscript over and over and over. And the funny thing is my one writer I use in California, she's a rabbi, she's got 2 kids, and she's always saving the characters. I said, stop saving my characters. I want conflict. I want them to be challenged. So we have a good laugh and we go back and forth.
I've heard you use this word before about dancing the words. Can you explain that? What does that mean to you?
It's the same as illustrations. I don't know what grammar is. I memorize any sense of grammar I have, I memorize. Any words that are spelled, I just memorize. It doesn't make sense to me. And I've read so much that I can understand when things, like I can out-edit my writers, because I know what doesn't make sense anymore, but it's all memorization, because logically my dyslexia doesn't compute. As the same as I can't draw very well, I draw very primitive. But it gets the communication across. And now Lisa and I have worked together so much, I know what I have to do and not do. So some things I'll just do really quick, and other things I have to do extremely detailed.
So you use other writers sometimes, too?
I have to. My writing is... The picture books, I'm not bad. I'm pretty good. I think I'm lucky because the stories are so unique and so different, and our illustrations really pop out. Yeah, I wish I was better at the writing, but it's not a gift I possess.
Yeah.
Oh, there's one of my drawings. Look at that. That's the monster. I can't remember what I call it. It's the monster launcher. That's it. So I will give that to Liesl to draw, and she's trying to get the monsters off the planet right now because the planet's being attacked, and so that's
sort of looks like the church.
And they turned into that.
With April and Eric.
So Liesl and I have a very good dance together.
So this process, I'm intrigued about the writing, though. You must. What does it feel like? When someone takes your ideas and your words and turns it into something, and like you say, you dances the words for you. What is that? How does that feel to you? Is that satisfying to you, or is it challenging to you?
You know, it's so fun. I'm so busy editing the books and reading them. By the time the book is done, I never want to look at them again. I get these books in the mail. We get from the printer. I'll take one pass through it, and I'll never open it up again because it's not exciting to me. The exciting part of creating for me is birthing the idea. You know, you create the idea. Your story starts with the idea, and then halfway through I'll tell you, this is a funny story. So we're working on Cookie Island, right? We're about halfway through it, and it's your fault. I was walking by your house, and all of a sudden, my artist said, Billy, I love monsters. I want to do a book about monsters. And so it's been 2 years. It's playing in my head. And I'm right by your house around Thanksgiving. And I call Liesl up. Liesl, I got the monster book. Stop Cookie Island. We went right to Orbit Monster Nebula. Took a year to do that book. Then we went back to Cookie Island. I drive her crazy. Because halfway through the books, I'm already bored. And I always do 2 or 3 books at the same time, because it keeps my head grounded a little bit.
What is your process, your daily process? What time do you hit the desk to start writing?
I get up at 5. I'm usually at my desk by 5:30 unless I'm doing some kind of sport outside. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I get distracted by the illustrations.
I knew that was going to happen. I said, Billy, are you sure you're going to want to?
Well, I get excited, and then I want to tell you about them. And then that's actually going to be the new Santa Claus one day. You wouldn't believe it, but his name is Nicholas. That's how they make butter on Cookie Island. Isn't that cute? So, what did you say again?
I can't remember. You got me excited about Cookie Island again. I haven't had one, by the way.
You asked me what is it like? So I get up in the morning. I hit the office. Liesl is 6-hour time difference. My art director is 5 hours. And a young guy I work with in California, so that's a little bit later. I work all morning, and then I go play in the afternoon, and I go back and forth.
So you have your illustrations. You have the words now that you craft or get some help, but mostly for the picture books, especially they're your own words. What does an art director do with the work?
Our first 4 or 5 books, we did not use an art director. And it's one of the greatest things you have, because they see things you could possibly never see. We still design all the covers, but the little tweaking she does is amazing. It's night and day. Night and day.
And who is that?
Her name is Claire. She did Game of Thrones and the new Harry Potter one that was just out. And even my artist is a brilliant colorist. She sees colors that we could never find. Mm-hmm. Little details that you never think, but so when you create a book or an art, you get the base down, but the tweak is so important. So I saw a documentary on Toy Story. They showed Disney was funding it, and they go, all right, here's the movie. Disney saw it and said, we really don't like it. We're going to pull the funds. They went back and tweaked it. They didn't change the characters. They tweaked it, changed it a little bit here and there. They went back, Disney, we love it. It's great. It's a lot of, you get the base, but the tweak is so important. It's what makes things pop. They literally, the story and the words it will jump off the page. So, yeah, and that, I guess, what do they say? Rewrite, draw.
You've chosen to publish independently. Is there a reason for that?
No one likes me.
No.
So I tried a long time ago to get a publisher and an agent a little bit, but I was primitive back then, and I said, I don't want to play this game anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't want to run around every 6 months sending a letter to an agent, so I just said, I'll just do it myself. Mm-hmm. And especially today, they're going to give you funds to do it, But there's nothing they can do that I can't do, you know? I mean, trial and error, you learn along the way, but would I love a publisher? Sure, an agent, but I'm too busy working. You know, I'm having so much fun doing this. And a publisher, there'd be like 15 people along the way telling me what to do, and me and Lisa, we just pump these things out, you know, and we have a blast. And I really want to have fun. You know, I'm here, I'm not here to make a buck, I'm not here to be famous, I'm here because I had this thing in my brain that has to go out, these ideas. This cookie company started this process. I have things that have to come out of my head. It's compulsion that they have to come out. And it's funny, my whole life, I never did anything creative, but there's little moments that I did. Like when I was 10, I wrote the alphabet in all little critters, you know? And in college, instead of having a keg party, I built a town. We built a Western town, you know, a functional town. We did a Hawaiian luau the year before, so I've always done little snippets of creativity. And Cookie Island was the first thing that really bloomed. And now I have so many ideas. It's a problem.
You know, Billy, you talk about this time...
like churches flying, you know. It's a problem.
You talk about this time now and your compulsion, your need to create, to write and make these books. You didn't have, obviously, this outlet when you were a kid, for whatever reason. What would you do? What would you say to that young Billy, you know, struggling in school, struggling at home? What would you say now to that kid?
I'd give him my two favorite things in the world. A number 2, B6 pen, not pen, B6 piece of pencil, and a white piece of paper, and I would tell him, go in the corner, don't play sports, don't go crazy keg parties, create. Find the passion inside you. You know, listen, there's nothing, and that's what I love, that's why we did the video about April and Eric. There's nothing more important than finding a passion. I don't care if you're digging a ditch. It doesn't matter, but you gotta love it. You gotta wanna do it till 3 in the morning. You know, so that's the greatest gift. I would say, Billy, stop being a jock, stop being this, create. I should have been in Hollywood, but I figured the easiest way to get to Hollywood for me was to create IP. So now I've got IP. And because of Dr. Webb, I've written a screenplay, which I'm hoping you can help me with dialogue, called Mural. It's this dance between an educator and a student that is failing, and she's trying to start this program, and then the conflict of the kid and his father. So those two storylines dance all the way up, and it's based in the 1970s. It's so much fun. I want to direct it. I want to do it. It's really fun.
That sounds very cool. What other projects do you have lined up?
And Emma, he's got to help me do it. I have a Drip. So I love rain, and I've always looked at rain. So all of a sudden I see this little raindrop fall, and his name's Drip. It's a name for now. And he's learned to push his, well, you know when raindrops fall, they fall round and then they go like this. So he's learned to make little wings, and he's decided, I don't want to drop to the ground, I want to fly around the world. So and we're working on it right now, this little guy flies all over the world. And what's really cool, we tried this a little motion. So he hits Africa when there's no water anywhere, and there's this little girl, and Drip lands on her hand, and she puts it up in the sky and says, water, please. And he evaporates up, and he says, I promise. And at the I'm not going to tell the end of the book. You guys suckered me into this. No. At the end of the book, they honor him. It's not going to make a lot of sense. They honor him. The greatest honor for a raindrop is to lead the rainbow. So they honor him by leading the rainbow, and of course he leads the rainbow all the way back to the place in Africa. And she's sitting there, and the rain's just pouring down on her. And I'm not sure if it's going to be rain or it's going to be raindrop rain, all colors. So we were just talking about that the other day. Oh, is that great? That's the mermaid. I love the mermaid. Is she cool? I wanted to make a fairy tale. So you guys think I jump around a lot. You should see me work on my desk. It's terrifying. Oh, so there's my art. So that's my drawing that I gave to Liesl. And this is a fully functional chocolate factory. I researched it really well. We could build this at Disneyland and it would really work. Or maybe behind the church.
Billy, I'm sure there's some folks out here who would like to ask a few questions. Shall we open it up a little bit?
Sounds good.
Who would like to? Yes, April. Can you hold for a sec? I'm sorry, Kristen. Oh, there we go. All right.
This is Ariel, you guys. Hi, Ariel.
Thank you.
Hi, thank you.
Well, first of all, fantastic. Thank you for the animation. That was just wonderful. And I know we're both completely blown away. But you draw well. You draw more like an outsider artist, but it's really great. I mean, I could see all the stuff. You've got all the stuff that you want to be in it, clearly. Like, when you're done, I was just wondering if sometimes, instead of a story popping into your head, is it ever the case that you get an image that you find intriguing, and then that turns into some sort of narrative?
100%. Sometimes it's just a visual. You know, when I wrote "Wipe Out the Wave," I was walking on the beach, and you know when the waves, they roll like this, but when there's like a sandbar close to shore, sometimes there's a wave that comes sideways, and then they go like this, and they clap up. I looked at that and said, boy, that's a dysfunctional wave. That's Wipeout. And Wipe Out the Wave was born, and he travels around the 7 seas because he's mocked and teased to try to find out what he is, and he finds out he's a rogue wave. But he learns that at the wave, oh, there's Wipeout. And he learns that at the Wave Council in the Galapagos Islands, which is all rogue waves. So 100%, anything, it doesn't matter what, and this is literally, guys, in all my books and all my illustrations, this is one of my favorite pictures. A picture's got to tell me a story. Where is she going? Where did she come from? Is she sad? Is she excited? Is she on a journey? I love the simplicity of this.
It's also great that there's a little spider web and a flower.
Yeah.
Like, the details are so beautifully rendered, and they're just the right amount. They don't overpower anything, but they add a certain kind of warm character, mood. You know, so this is just so satisfying.
So she's going to the beach. She's going to find the key piece of a story bottle, and she's going to be catapulted back in time. And there's a fairy attached to that bottle. And he goes, oh my God, my bottle's been broken. And whenever a bottle's been broken, there's a secret that's trying to be hidden. And the other 4 pieces each have a fairy attached. So she's got to go to a series of challenges to save a prince at the end of the day. And the bottles are, of course, made in Bottle Town, which is fairies make these magical bottles. And an evil guy spoke into the bottle saying, I've kidnapped the blah, 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 and off you go. Oh, and that's the beast in that Story Glass book I was just talking, and those are all the fairies.
Someone else? The question? Anything? Oh, there's, okay.
Billy, thank you. I love your humility that whenever you have anybody somewhere that could do a better job than you can on a certain situation in order to make the book commercial and finished well, you have a whole committee of people that you decided upon to create your art, which is wonderful.
That's what I so appreciate that about your work too, about how collaborative you are with your ideas and about just sharing them and to find the best way to tell the story, right? Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
There was, Joanne.
I mean, your work is so incredibly creative, as everyone is saying, and how in the world do you publish all of these by yourself without having a publisher? How do you get them into the world so that people can see them, read them, use them?
The Holy Grail. Trying to sell books today is tough. You know, we started shopping our books into Hollywood, trying to get movies and TV made out of them. And most of the producers we talked to recently, they're just, Billy, we love this stuff, but I'm looking for a job, you know? So it's really, we're in a tough time. Unless you're doing YouTube. YouTube surpassed Disney, I believe, as the largest entertainment company in the world. And everyone's converting everything to these shorts on YouTube. So we hired an animator, what we could afford, and we're doing little primitive shorts. So Book sales are tough. When we go to events, we sell a lot of books. When I'm there chatting with people, but online, it's a battleground. It's hard to get people's attention. It's like I tell people, if you're in a life raft in the South Pacific and you're floating around and you're trying to get found, it's hard.
I love your idea of creating videos for YouTube. That's pretty brilliant.
But I just keep on creating. If I can't get the other, I just keep on creating, right?
Who else?
Ruby.
Hi.
So I imagine you would be very inspirational to kids like yourself, like many young artist types who suffer, which makes people make art because they need to do something to get out of their misery. And I can imagine that you would be very inspiring to kids that are also dyslexic from non-efficient homes and all of that. Do you go out to the schools? Where do you meet up with the kids who you could be so inspiring to?
I do a bunch of talks at schools. I was just at East Hampton, their library inside the school, John Marshall. So I love doing it. I had a dyslexia foundation many years ago, honoring Dr. Gertrude Webb. And I used to do a lot of talks to parents, teachers, and everything. Because a lot of people lose hope, so there's, like I said, there's always hope, that's just drilled in my brain, unfortunately, sometimes, but you never give up,
Sweet, wonderful what you do. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. And your cookies are loud.
Oh, I know.
Nancy?
Nancy?
Wait, can you wait for the mic so that...
Sounds silly that you think it would be really
Nancy,
younger.
Nancy, the microphone.
Ask your question on the mic.
Right there.
I'm sorry.
Yes, please.
What is the age group that you, when you go to a school, for instance, that you talk to? Do you talk to kids who are in the junior class who might be artistic? I mean, art departments? And,
I think third, fourth,
That's-
fifth is probably, if you get too young, they're looking for Big Bird running around the room.
Oh, yeah, no, I know that.
It
yeah.
doesn't work.
Yeah.
But you got to have that age where it kind of works. So yeah, right around there, I say 5 to 10 is what most of my books are.
But the magical creativity in the drawings and in the stories, it would seem to me you could go to art classes. Because
I've never been asked, because this is the funny thing. I don't really fit the norm.
well,
Tell me about it.
oh yes, you do.
I'm not a writer. I never call myself a writer. I create, because I don't think I'm a writer. I'm not an artist. People have writing groups where they go and they talk about their chapters. I can't talk about a chapter in grammar or anything. So I'm kind of like this little freak off to the side, so I do my thing. That's how I feel. I have to be honest. That's,
Billy, without getting too personal, obviously your creativity is incredible, but it started when you were a kid, and all that pain as a child growing up. How's that little kid now? What's happened to that little kid that you've grown up with?
I never thought I could say this in my life about anything, really. I'm good at creating stories. I'm not a good writer, I'm not a good illustrator, but I'm good at birthing original ideas. And my developing story structure, I'm getting better at. And I never thought I was good at art directing, but that's the cloaking device. Clearly, that's the nebula chamber. Clearly, there's something floating in my brain that's coming up with a lot of this stuff. So I actually tell people today, I can look them in the eye and go, I'm good at creating.
And that was something, excuse me, you couldn't do when you were a kid?
Say that again? I'm good.
That was something you couldn't do when you were a kid.
I was told I was stupid. I was told I was, I was told I was stupid, that it was just, it was depressing. It was not a fun childhood, But, forget about childhood. It gets in your DNA a little bit, and it follows you with your adulthood, and you've got to push it out. You've got to change those tapes. And it took me all these years to change the tapes, to not say, I'm really just stupid, I'm off to the side. I'm actually good at creating. So my tapes got rewritten, but it took a while. and I needed to have a passion to do that. Doing commercial real estate and even the cookie company, it's not something I loved. Oh, that was the DNA. So this is where she makes monsters. This is the DNA machine. Can you flip back to the other one? So people don't realize when you draw a picture, this is only 6 of them. I've probably drawn this same machine 20, 30 times, I can't remember. And then we came up with the next screen that you see. So when you see a picture, it takes so much effort and so much work. Yeah, that's it.
Those are really good, Billy.
Yeah, so what I did is I researched organs, I researched mixing boards, and so I do a lot of research. Gargoyles, I love gargoyles, so I thought about putting gargoyles on top. And then I looked at spheres on top of churches and tried to mix it all together to machine, but it's a lot of research. You just don't sit there in a pen and start writing it down. In names, oh my God, names are the coolest things. And they're so difficult. I reach Gaelic, Roman, anything you can think of, and then I try to fantasize and change them around. So it's, writing and creating is not for the faint of heart. It's a lot of work. And guys, these are my personalities. So you write what you know. And I've always helped a lot of people, so I'm a little bit of a hero. So I think that's why my characters are orphans, underdogs, and they end up trying to save the day and help out, because that's been my MO most of my life. And those are my characters, my personalities. So if you want to know if anyone's available for dating, that's my characters. So you get it up front right now. It's all done. Don't blame me later.
I just had a question. So I know, you mentioned in the 70s and stuff like that where people would talk about, dyslexia or autism and refer to them as disabilities. I often look at these things as like abilities, like you're saying, and it's almost like a gift because of certain people's, let's say autistic people, they're so hyper fixated on things, it actually becomes like a superpower or a talent to them. And that's kind of the way I feel about people who have autism or potentially, do you feel dyslexia? Do you feel like you look at it almost like it helped you to become this creative and, like it's almost a benefit to you and like your own little superpower in a way?
I think the world is just backwards. So we're all born with our talent, okay? It doesn't have to be reading, it doesn't have to be writing, it doesn't have to be art or sports or music. Whatever your talent is, it's your core talent that you've been given. We label so many things like dyslexia. So maybe I wasn't meant to do this. So everyone's got a core talent. Look at the guy from the Talking Heads. Is it Asperger's he's got or something? And he's brilliant, he's crazy. We do so much labeling and if we would just focus on the kid's raw skill. Whatever it is, if it's digging a ditch, that's great. Focus on it. Make them feel proud of themselves. Then they could build a life. So the other things don't work so great. That's okay. We get so freaked out on what people can't do. We should focus more on what people can do. And that's what Dr. Webb taught me, and that's what the screenplay that I focused on. It's about this core talent, and that's the most important thing.
I think the dyslexia might have been part of your gift to create this.
Yes. Emma.
Yes.
Thank you. You talked about you giving your child self a pencil and a blank piece of paper. You talked about putting down the iPhone and the laptop and getting quiet for the creativity to come through, and not doing sports or any of those things. And yet we've all seen you walking the village mile after mile after mile and kayaking. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about the balance between, is that when you're stewing, when you're walking, is that when the ideas are churning? Is that how you get quiet? Can you talk about the balance between, being in front of your computer and generating the ideas and stepping into the creative river, so to speak, and seeing what comes?
For me, I need Mother Nature. It's very relaxing to me. It's very calming. One of my favorite things to do is go paddling in a storm. like the pouring rain. It's like I haven't had a drink in 40 years, right? So I'm like stoned going out. And when you get this mantra, this pace going, you lose yourself. And all kinds of things float in your head. Great ideas. So I love getting that balance and getting outside. Also, a lot of the ideas come from people, conflicts. My little brother was sick. My brother Al's like Dennis the Menace. So you observe people, you observe things that are happening around you. There's 2 books I've been trying to do, and I don't know how to do them because they get preachy. One is the world, the chaotic world that we live in, and trying to balance that somehow. And another one is animals, giving the animals a voice. I wanted to bring humans to trial, so I wanted to get all the animals and have a court, and the humans go to court. But it's delicate, the concept's there, but now you have to do it where it's going to work and you can make an impact. And you can't be preachy. You can't throw things in someone's face. So there are ideas that float around, but I love exhausting myself. If I exhaust myself, ideas come in. And it also, when I'm in my computer all day, cranking out the words, I'm doing something. So understand, I love creation. I really dislike reading and writing. I need a break. So I crank all day. I got to go exhaust myself. I got to get out of myself, kind of clean the slate. And it's a battle. For me to create is literally a battle. There's, what did I remember? We were chatting. I was saying words are like sentries. They're like guards. They're keeping me away from the world. And my imagination is my sword. And my steed is my drive. And those 2 things help me fight through the words. It's literally a battle through the words every time I do something. So I need to be outside. I need chocolate too. That helps. I definitely am an emotional eater. Definitely. So, but all those things help. You can't create if you're not relaxed. And sometimes jamming like Led Zeppelin and Guns N' Roses. And I love rock. I love all music, but I really love rock and roll. So sometimes I crank that out, and that helps. I heard Stephen King writes and cranks rock and roll music out. So I don't know if I answered your question. Did I? Kind of a little bit. So.
I got the mic, so. 3 things. First of all, thank you again for the church fantasy, but even more specifically for giving me a full head of hair. I mean, what more could a guy ask for, right?
Well, you shrunk. Sometimes you were like this big and it was going up and down. It was pretty funny.
I don't care. The hair was everything. The other was, yes, by all means, if we can figure out how to make a chocolate factory and the parking lot outside, let's go for it. And the third is the one form that you haven't talked about in terms of like an ultimate form that the stories take. I think it should go into theater. And I can't stop thinking of Lion King in terms of the way they animate these characters with these extraordinary costumes and stuff that I think it would be a spectacle, that movies and books and things like that actually fit within our sense of where this belongs. But to get outside of that and create the same sense of awe and wonder as you watch these amazing characters, these incredible colors and stuff like that. I've been in the hands of, stage set people. It would be just phenomenal.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I have a friend that just did an off-Broadway show called The Glitch. He's the animator guy that did the AI for us, Kip, and he's been preaching to me for a couple years to try to do a play. So we looked at all our books, and oddly enough, the simplest book we have, there's only 3 characters, but we added a lighthouse keeper, is called The Boy, the Mermaid, and the Storm. So we thought that might be the simplest way to initiate a play. But yes, I think Orbis Monster Nebula, Cookie Island, and the newest.
I would suggest going bigger.
Bigger? Okay. Well, I agree with you. Yeah. Well, the cool thing, the other thing is, I love world building. My favorite creators in the world are people that build worlds that don't exist. Cookie Island is a world that does not exist. You know, it's really, really cool. The entire island is alive. The water, we call it Iggy's. The water is literally alive. So that would be the coolest thing to do. So I agree with you. Yeah, it just, I gotta find time. We gotta get there. We had someone over there.
Yeah, just a quick question. I found it interesting that you said that you feel like so many young people are like sucked into like digital, and I find it interesting because I'm writing a graphic novel myself, and I drew a lot of it in like pencil first, and then I went onto my iPad and redrew some of it. But then looking back at it, I wanted to add more in, and I was trying to draw from my iPad, but I feel like I've kind of hit a little bit of a writer's block. Like, do you feel like in your creative process, like completely sketching out in like pencil on paper is like the best way to go, or like do you have any like recommendations at all?
Everyone has a different process. You know, for me, maybe it goes back to the old watching the guys do the cells in Disney, where they used to sketch everything and go from cell to cell to cell. I love the look of pencil. I love the feel of pencil. That's why I make a point with the 6B. I think it's called Faber-Castell. I love the way it feels. I love the look of it. So for Christmas, a young man that works with me gave me a cell of the Lion King. It was the little, the cat, the little weird cat, whatever, it doesn't matter, mercat or something. It was pencil. It was a rough sketch of what it could be. I would take that over $1 million finished picture any day. I love the birth of something. But I think it's what works for you. Don't think like, well, Billy does that or this person does that. Try them all. What comes out of you? You know, that would be my best thing. You know, just don't make it complicated. Don't overthink. The worst thing you can do is overthink anything. Don't overthink it. Just do. And see what connects with you. Believe me, your artistic self will come out. Whether it's pen, whether it's a Wacom cabinet, or whatever it is. You know, so just don't think, do. You know?
Billy, we have time for one last question right here. Miss Mona.
I just wanted to say how fascinated I am by your drawings. And I just wanted to say, one, are they translated into other languages? And the second question I wanted to ask is that you practically don't even need words in my eyes. Your pictures totally speak for themselves. So that's my
We haven't
impression.
gone to other countries or languages. And since you mentioned the illustrations again, I will say Liesl Bell is a saint, my artist. She puts up with me, and I am terrifying to work with. You know, and sometimes I'm very direct. You know, I hear I'm nice and fun, all like that, but sometimes I get really direct, and sometimes she's got to smack me back a little bit.
What do you mean when you get direct? You're like an asshole or what?
Yeah, kind of like.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I don't. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I don't color everything so well. I get very. I don't beat around the bush sometimes. I go right to. I said, Liesl, that's really bad, because she had really bad problems with perspective. So, you see all this movement. She's really good at coloring. She's really good at animals. But her perspective is now getting better. I made her go to school for it. I had to. It was off. But everyone has to improve their skills. So sometimes I get too direct, and I have to be careful. You know, I forget to color things a little bit better. So it's something I need to learn.
It's been a great pleasure to talk to you. I look forward to continuing our work together. And thanks to all of you.
Thank you.